السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد بن عبد الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. I would like to welcome you all to seminar number 1, which is titled Capstone Project Introduction. My name is Dr. Abdurrahman bin Khalid Yusuf, and I am a professor at the Civil Engineering Department here at Taiba University. In today's important seminar, we will talk about several essential topics that concern every capstone student. First of all, we will talk about some background information, followed by the deliverables, the capstone project deliverables. What should you have to submit by the end of this semester and second semester? As you all know, capstone project is a 2-semester journey. We will talk about supervisor's role and the student's role in this project, followed by the to-do list for this semester and the next semester. We will also discuss how you can effectively choose a topic for your capstone project, followed by what sources you can and cannot use, credible and sources that are not credible, what is the difference between them. And finally, in our seminar today, we will talk about important guidelines that we expect you all to follow when it comes to your report, presentation, and your poster. So let us begin. First of all, I want you all to think of this capstone project as an opportunity for you, an opportunity that you want to maximize. This is the last stage in your engineering schooling before you get into the professional engineering world, right? So I want you to start to think of yourselves as professional engineers. And a professional is someone who's always prepared. So if I have a deadline or I have a presentation, I'm doing my research ahead of time. I'm time managing myself. I'm utilizing my resources effectively. I'm doing my due diligence before I get to that deadline. A professional is someone who respects and follows deadlines. I'm never late as a professional. I'm punctual, right? Whenever I have a weekly meeting with my supervisor or I have a meeting with my colleagues, I am there on time. That's a professional behavior. So being prepared, being punctual, being proactive, and taking the initiative, as you see here in the slides. What does that mean? That means that you're always taking the first step. So if, for example, if I have a meeting with my supervisor, I don't go to the meeting without being prepared and without being on time. At the same time, I have done my homework when it comes to researching, when it comes to filling out the forms that I have to fill out, and then I wait for guidance from my supervisor. But I have to do some sort of preparation and taking the initiative and being proactive. So steps number 1 should always be initiated from the students, and then the supervisors will guide them, whether you should highlight some aspects, whether you should add or eliminate aspects of the design. That should follow. But step number 1, taking the initiative, and that's what we expect from you at this level. So think of yourself as a professional engineer, not as a student, because it will help you adapt to professional fields once you graduate in a year, inshallah. So maximize the opportunity. Now you're put here at this opportunity to apply the principles that you have worked hard to learn over the last 4 years or or so. So put those principles to good use, right? Challenge yourself. Do not choose topics that are easy, that do not challenge you. I want you all to challenge yourselves to take a maximum to maximize your opportunity from this project. In this project, you will also apply teamwork, right? Because in a professional field, you will be dealing with people from different backgrounds. You will be dealing with CEOs, you'll be dealing with finance people, accountants, professionals from other fields of engineering, such as electrical engineering, civil engineering, industrial engineers, chemical engineers. So a professional is somebody who's able to work in teams, and he's effective communicating his ideas and is able to receive ideas. I want you to apply leadership. That means you are taking full responsibility for your success. You're taking the first steps always, and then asking guidance from your advisors. If you have individuals in your team that are slacking off, you should motivate them. You should motivate yourself and motivate them to be better as you go through, because it's a long journey and you always want to motivate yourself to get the maximum advantages from this great opportunity that you will face. And finally, you should hold yourself accountable. So if I'm responsible for some task in the team, I'm holding myself accountable for that task. It should be delivered with maximum efficiency. It should be delivered in a timely manner. And if somebody else in the team is doing a different task, I am acting as a reviewer for that task. So I do not say that it's not my responsibility and that's it. No, you have to understand everything that you put on in your report and presentation, and guide yourselves and guide each other within this long journey. So this was some background information to set the table for today's seminar. As I mentioned, it's a two-semester journey. First semester is CE 491 in the civil engineering department, and the output at the end of the semester is report number 1 and a PowerPoint presentation. Okay, very straightforward. That's what we expect as a deliverable or as deliverables by the end of the first semester. You should prepare the report and the first presentation. And the presentation, of course, as a professional, we mentioned that the key to good presentations is to prepare and do your due diligence before you go in front of the supervisors and the judges and present. Okay. Second semester, on the other hand, you will be submitting report number 2, and it's not a different report. It's just a build-up on your initial report from the previous semester. And think of a building. If you have a shaky foundation, you will not be able to build on it. So start to get a good start in this first semester so that you make your lives much easier in the second semester. But if you slack off and submit a bad report or a bad presentation, you will make stuff much harder for you on the second semester. And then, as a second deliverable in the second semester, a presentation as well. And then the third addition would be a poster. We'll talk about the report, the presentation, and poster guidelines by the end of this seminar today. So what are the deliverables of the capstone project? It's typically a research or design demonstrating academic gain knowledge. So think of the principles that you have learned over the last 4 years and apply those principles in your topic choice, in your report, and in your presentation, right? So we're asking that the report and the project itself, it should be technically solid, right? Because you're graduating as engineers and you should be technically solid. There is a report that sums up every effort that you have put throughout the first semester and the second semester. Okay, so the report should be formatted properly, should be easily understood, should be organized. So we expect you to spend a lot of time drafting reports, because if you have technical information but fail to communicate them effectively, the audience, the readers, will not be able to get your points. So you don't want to get your points lost. And an oral presentation, which students become a source of information, communicating their project work before a review panel. And the supervisors will help you prepare for those oral presentations, ask them and submit to them the report ahead of time to ask for their revisions, if they have any comments, if they have any additions. But as I mentioned in the background, that you should always take the initiative. Don't expect supervisors to go and send you emails, where are you, your presentation is in a week, submit something to me before. No, you should, as students, take the initiative and follow up with your supervisors. That's being a good leader. That's applying accountability, as we mentioned. And then the final deliverable, this would be in the second capstone course in the second semester. It would be an informatics poster for the whole project. And the poster is a very brief tool that shows a 2-year or a 2-semester journey. And it should be clear, concise, brief, as we will talk about in the poster guidelines. So what is the supervisor's role? First of all, the supervisor is a member of the academic staff of the civil engineering department, and you could have either, it's typically one supervisor, but sometimes I see students with multiple supervisors. It could be one of the academic staff from the CE department, and if you, for example, your project uses automation, you could use another faculty member from the industrial department, but it's typically one supervisor and it's from your own department. And it may be also a corporation with other departments or related industry. It could be someone who you've worked with in the summer training program as a professional engineer, and they could also serve as a plus supervisor for you. But at a minimum, it should be one academic faculty member from your department. And the supervisor's role, so what's our role as professors? We provide advice and suggestions to the team. So you are being proactive, you're asking for our help, and then we deliver our part of the equation. We make sure that you are on the right track. We provide sources for you, so we could recommend journal papers, we could recommend a certain design software, we could recommend that you research into certain topics. So we will serve as guidance to you through your journey, and we are here to help you. But you have to help yourself first. You have to research, you have to do the tough work before you ask for your advisor's advice. They will guide you through your report or presentation, your poster, everything that you might need regarding your CAPS project. Supervisors are happy to help you. We will also review and provide verifications to the students' work. So when we look at your report, we might have feedback We will have feedback to you to improve your report, your presentation, your deliverables, and will serve as a support. So we are one of the resources. So take maximum advantage of your supervisors. Always be polite with them, always be on time with them, take always the first step, be proactive, be able to receive criticism. That's an important skill. An advisor, when he gives you feedback, you should respect his opinion and thank him for that, because he is an expert in his field, and he is spending time with you for you to improve yourself. So your preliminary to-do list for the capstone, I have summarized them in 4 items. Let's look at item number 1 here. You should set an area of the capstone project from within the civil engineering field. So we have structural engineering as a branch in civil engineering. We have geotechnical engineering. We have construction engineering and management. We have transportation and traffic engineering. And we have water resources engineering. So we have 5 branches in the civil engineering department. You should first of all select an area in which you want to work, and make sure that you have taken enough elective courses in that specific area so you'll be successful. Okay, the second step is that you want to search and propose the capstone topic. You should, as students, decide what area and what topic you want to pursue, and then offer it and present it to your supervisor. They will provide feedback. If the topic lacks complexity or lacks sophistication, as faculty members, they will recommend that you add a level of details to that. And number 3, you want to clearly define your project statement in what we call the white paper form. And you should all have this by now. So in the white paper, you submit your topic and a project statement in the white paper form. And then you submit it for the department to get approved. So this is step number 3 in your to-do list. And this should be in the first couple of weeks or the first week or 2 in your first semester. So this preliminary to-do list should happen early in your capstone project. So don't wait until the middle of the semester to submit your white paper form, because time is money and time counts, and you need to be organized and be ahead of time, right? And the last step is you want to meet with the supervisor to review and discuss the capstone topic. As I mentioned, the supervisor will add elements that you could consider, they might give you the thumbs up, and you would have a sophisticated and complicated enough design, research, and they'll give you their approval. Okay, but this is the preliminary to-do list, and it should happen when? In the very first week or 2 in the first semester of your capstone journey. The topic requirements are presented in this slide. The research or design-based project can be built from various venues gained in the previous civil engineering learning process. Highly recommended to be related to Unity and industry services and problem solving. So if I'm asked to define what is an engineer, regardless of his submajor, whether it's civil, electrical, well, if somebody asks me to define what is an engineer, I would say briefly, an engineer is a problem solver. So your report, your topic you should think of a problem that you want to solve, whether you solve this problem through research, through finding data, through analyzing data, or you could use design to solve a certain problem, and try to relate it to community here in Saudi Arabia, the Middle East, or Medina region, and industry services. You want to have an industry flavor to that, okay? Because as job interviewers, one of the things that they always ask for is what did you work on in your capstone project? Show me the report. Show me the slides. These are typical requests in a job interview. So if you want to be more eligible to get a job once you graduate, you want your report and presentation and topic to be related to the industry as much as you can. And it could be a research project or a design project, or I personally recommend that it could be a combination of both. So if you're designing a building in harsh environmental conditions, or you're using sustainability and durability principles in your choice of materials, there is some sort of research that goes into that, literature review, writing down methodology, seeing what other people have done, and then building on that, correct? So it could be a research project or a design project, or a combination of both. And as I mentioned, you want to maximize your opportunity in this project, so you could include both aspects as research and design in your capstone journey. As I mentioned, civil engineering has 5 main or major branches: structural, transportation, environmental and water resource, geotechnical, and construction. So as students, you would pick one of the areas and decide on a topic based on this area. So you see that we have a wide variety of opportunities for you. In order for you to choose an effective topic, your topic should be narrowed down, correct? If it's too general, the first feedback you would receive from your advisor or supervisor is that you should narrow it down. What does that mean? It should be clear and specific. Then, what do you already know about the topic? Have you taken the prerequisites? Have you taken enough elective courses? For example, I decided to do a topic in structural engineering. I want to study earthquake forces and its impact on commercial buildings, for example. What do I already know? Have I taken structural analysis? Have I taken enough elective courses in the field to be successful? And the literature review will also be serving this second point as well. What did other people write about the topic, so that I could know this is the purpose of a literature review. So you could find what other people and research institutes have concluded, and then you try to build on that, and you try to identify gaps in knowledge, right? So there might be a study that have been done in the United States, and I want to do a similar study in Saudi Arabia. That's okay, that's acceptable. That's learning from others and trying to use their knowledge in your specific field. Did you complete the related courses for your capstone topic? You should ask yourself this before you choose a specific topic. And as I mentioned, the capstone areas are listed here in this figure. What are the sources that are you recommended to use? And these should be credible sources. You could find information in textbooks throughout your civil engineering studying, or from the internet or the university's library. Textbooks are usually very good sources for information, and credible sources, that is. Academic journals, so the American Society of Civil Engineers, the Construction History Institute, there are several credible journals that you could seek for information. And if you are not sure about how credible a specific journal is, you could always ask your supervisor, right? So send them an email with the name of the journal and ask them, can I use this as a source in my capstone project? And they'll be able to help you out. Conference proceedings, course notes from your studying, academic staff and supervisors, these are credible sources as well. Surveys, interviews, academic website articles. So website articles are okay to use, but if it's credible, if it is academic, and a credible online databases are all sources of information that you could utilize in your capstone project. In this table, I summarize some of the credible and not credible sources. We've talked about the credible sources: books, accredited journals, accredited conferences, scientific magazines. If you want to use online resources, .edu sites are credible, .gov sites are credible too, documentaries, database articles, academic staff and supervisors. On the other hand, do not use Wikipedia articles, because you know that everyone or anyone can edit Wikipedia articles. So in the academic world, we do not consider Wikipedia entries to be as credible. Blogs, منتديات, avoid them if they're not scientific or credible. And if you have, again, questions about the credibility of a source, don't take the risk. Just ask your supervisor about a specific course and they'll be able to guide you. Friends or families, that's not a credible source. Unaccredited encyclopedias or magazines or newspapers. These are all examples of sources that you should avoid. Some important reminders for the capstone teams: it is your sole responsibility. So you should take the initiative, you should take the responsibility for your own success. Don't imagine at this level that advisors would open up your brain tank and fill your head with information, or that supervisors will write the report for you, or no, they're just there to guide you through the journey, but the first steps should always come from you. So it's your sole responsibility to meet the deadlines. If you know that the white paper is supposed to be submitted by a certain deadline, it's your responsibility to follow that. And remind your supervisors. The supervisors will not chase you to follow deadlines. No, we're here to help you, but the first steps should always come from you. As I mentioned, we are only mentors and advisors. Utilize your resources and ask questions. If you're not sure, ask. We're here to help you. Utilize your time. Manage your time, right? Pace yourself. You know what you should do. Discuss what you should do in the first semester and put a plan. Use a Gantt chart, as we do in scheduling classes, to divide up the activities. For example, I want to spend 3 weeks in the literature review. I want to spend 1 more week after that in the methodology section, and divide the tasks between you and your other colleagues in the team, but you are all responsible for the final product. Time manage, prioritize, and recognize and organize. And as a final piece of advice, you want to always keep backup copies of your work. So use OneDrive, Dropbox, USBs. Do not have only one copy of your work because, as you all know, there are some technology failure that could happen and your hard work could be deleted. So avoid that by being smart and utilizing iCloud or Dropbox or any platform that is software based, and keep a lot of copies. Even you could print copies, or even you could distribute copies between you as colleagues or team members. Correct. So now let's switch gears and talk about some important report guidelines. And this goes for report number 1, which is a deliverable, as we mentioned, in the first semester, and report number 2, which is a deliverable in the second semester. The report should utilize learned materials and technologies. So it should be organized. What did you learn? It should show depth in academic and professional growth and personal growth. So we should see that you have improved yourself. How we can see that? That the report is the first testimony to that, and then it's the presentation. But the report should be clear in appearance and is formatted professionally so that it could be clear, neat, and orderly, organized, right? All forms and contents should meet the requirements of the template report. Now, there is a template in each department that you should follow, and follow closely. Even us academics, when we submit to journal conference proceedings, if we do not follow the format, our papers get rejected immediately. So before we even look at your technical content, the report should be neat and clear and follows the template identified by the department. If you're not sure where to find that, ask your supervisors. But again, you should take the first step. You should look for them yourself first, and then if you're having troubles finding the latest update or anything of this sort, you should talk to your supervisors. Be consistent in format, tables, figures, font style, size, bullets. So being consistent is also one of the traits of a professional. And writing sufficient reports will help you not only to pass this capstone journey, but it will help you a lot to communicate your ideas effectively when you work in engineering fields in the future. Some requirements, again, in the report: it should include a title page, acknowledgements, table of contents, table of figures, table of tables, acronyms, abstract in both in Arabic and in English. Of course, the language of the report itself should be in English, but the abstract you should have 2 abstracts, one in Arabic and one in English. Project proposal and motivation, and research or design methodology. What else? It should have a clear project plan to complete the project, Gantt chart. We're still talking about the project report requirements. It should have background and literature review, data collection, data analysis and results, discussion and recommendations and results, references, appendices. So revisit these 2 slides and make sure that you have included every aspect or every subtitle in your report number 1 and report number 2. And the template in the department for your report should act as a reference for you. Of course, in report number 1 in the first semester, you might not have all of your results Still, you might have not all of your references completed. Okay, but for example, in report number 1, you could have your literature review, your data collection, your methodology, etc. So be careful not to copy or steal somebody else's work. This is a red line and it's an offensive academic crime. So you should be very mindful of this. Stealing somebody else's ideas or work without reference, that's an academic crime, and it might get you in trouble, and it will have severe academic consequences and punishments. And it also could result in an F grade. So let's avoid plagiarism. If you have multiple references, if you have multiple sources, that adds credibility to your work. But just always try to cite where did you get the information. It's okay. We're not expecting you to have invented every engineering principles out there. No, but we expect you that when you cite an engineering principle, you state where did you find this information, and that's very acceptable. Okay. Of course, you paraphrasing and how you do with citations should be clarified in the report template. Now let's switch gears and talk about the project presentation. And the presentation is an opportunity for you to show your work in the first semester and the second semester. It should explain your project from start to finish to the judges and audiences. It should be 20 to 25 minutes, approximately 20 to 30 slides. On average, it should be 1 slide per minute of your talk, so that you're not fast or super slow. And do not use full sentences or full paragraphs. Do not just copy and paste from your report. No, you should summarize, make it as clear as possible. And you want to have large fonts. You want to have as much pictures and figures and designs as possible to convey ideas. Project presentation should also include a cover slide, an agenda, a problem statement, a background and literature review, methodology, research or design work performed, analysis, results and recommendations, and conclusions. So refer to this slide when you're working on your presentation to make sure that you have included enough necessary information in your PowerPoint presentation. And again, you will be presenting by the end of this semester and by the end of the second semester as well. Now let's talk about the project poster, which is, as I mentioned, it is a deliverable on the second semester. It should summarize the capstone project attractively and generate discussion. So it should be interesting. It should include a lot of figures and tables and brief information for you. And refer back to the department for a poster template as well. But a poster and presentation are areas that you could show maximum creativity. So take advantage of them. The poster is usually a mixture of a brief text mixed with tables, graphics, and pictures. And the project team should stand by the poster to display, to interact with viewers for discussion and answering questions. How you can handle questions, being more prepared, having done your proper research will allow you to answer questions effectively. Project poster should be designed according to standard department template, as I have mentioned. Here are hints for a good poster. It should be read or readable from about 2 to 3 meters away. The title should draw it. The text is clear. You use bullet points, numbering, consistent and clean layout, organized, professional. You want to see professional work that does not harm your hard work. It should add value to your hard work. Include the supervisor's name and include acknowledgement as well. With this, I conclude my seminar number 1, which is an introduction to Capstone project. Hopefully you have learned. We have talked about important guidelines when it comes to your report, presentation, poster session. We have talked about your responsibilities and the advisor's role or the supervisor's role. We have talked about how you could choose a topic in an area, that the topic should be sophisticated, should have a practical use. We have talked about sources and how you could pick reliable sources. We have also discussed plagiarism and that you want to be as credible and respectful to others as possible. And I wish you all the best through this opportunity. Again, I like to always call Capstone project as an opportunity for you to improve yourself, to show leadership, to show accountability, to show teamwork. And this is an exciting time in your civil engineering or any engineering studying, because you are transforming yourself from being a student to being an engineer. So it's an exciting time in your academic career, and hopefully you will end it with a great success. I'm writing down my email here. If you have any questions regarding this seminar, please feel free to email me. Thank you very much.